everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Play, the PlayStation podcast, where we will go beyond at least the headlines into everything PlayStation. This is my great friend. I'll let you introduce yourself, man, first, but throw it over to you.
Yeah, man. Keenan, most of you guys probably know me as CBK. I have my own little YouTube channel. I think we have a pretty interesting story, Zach, because I think this is actually the first time we're actually talking to each other on the internet or whatever it may be. I know we DM quite a lot, and we have been connected for years now, it feels like. I think that this podcast, and you're going to break it down and everything, but this podcast is going to be really cool because we're huge PlayStation fans. But I think one interesting perspective that we're going to bring to this podcast in particular is the fact that low-key we're kind of film bros, and we're really into narrative-driven games as well. And I am really interested to see how, our kind of background as being film people will be able to, cover games in a completely different way, I think.
No, and I agree. And I think the other interesting aspect is, this is your first main PlayStation console, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is technically your first main one, correct?
Yeah, so for me, I think I had like a PS1 when it came out when I was like, I don't know, eight or nine or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was historically a huge Xbox person because Halo was my jam. I loved everything Xbox growing up, but the first time I actually went out and bought a PlayStation was the PS4 at the end of that generation's life cycle, because obviously Spider-Man came out, so I had to make that switch.
You had to jump into it, man. Yeah,
I had to, man. And I make this joke all the time. I definitely, the only reason I was going to get a PlayStation ever was because of Spider-Man. And I came over to PlayStation for Spider-Man, and then I found myself staying at PlayStation because of all of the other excellent games that the console has to offer. So that's where I am, and now I'm a huge PlayStation fanboy.
I love to hear that. So it's my journey's weird because Xbox 360, that was my big halo for multiplayer in terms of a lot of stuff. All my friends had an Xbox 360, but my dad was diehard PlayStation. So he ended up buying a PS3 to be different. I don't want an Xbox. You have the 360, I'm going to play the PS3. Well, he's getting these interesting games like Uncharted, Resistance, and I'm like, I want to kind of play those, Dad. So I ended up slowly, any single-player stuff, PS3. That's all I played on. Any multiplayer stuff ended up being my 360, to the point where PS4 and Xbox and all that stuff is kind of coming down. I ended up converting all my friends to the PS4. Because I felt like that was the future. Luckily, I feel like I was right in that regard, because now we've all kind of just stayed on PlayStation. But yeah, on today's episode, you and me, we're going to be diving into our topic, which is the top 10 PlayStation experiences that we've had for the PS5 so far for this console generation. Now, this necessarily, as you and me were talking, it doesn't have to necessarily be an exclusive, but it could also just be something that you've had with this. One of my memories that we'll get into isn't necessarily actually a game. Which will make more sense when we get into that. But I think this is going to be fun. Obviously, there is some news that did drop about PlayStation that I do want to kind of jump into and see what you feel. But before we get into that, I like to do a fun icebreaker. And I think this icebreaker will be interesting for you because, again, you didn't really play the PS3, the PS, all that stuff. What's one game you wish you could have played on another PlayStation console?
I think anything from... Okay, so you guys are going to learn a lot about me because I am such a new PlayStation person. The only Uncharted game that I've played so far is Uncharted 4, and
yes, I remember we talked about this.
So I would probably wish I could go back and dive into the Uncharted series when those were releasing. I feel like they're a little bit harder to get into just because they are a little dated. Not that I don't think I would have I wouldn't have a good time probably, but I just not having that opportunity to experience that as it was releasing. And, same could be said for really any story games because I was such a multiplayer kid, like Xbox Live. And I guess now that I've gotten older, I just can't keep up with all the multiplayer games. And I just love the immersive, the immersive experiences of single player games have just completely won me over. I could play at my own pace. But yeah, I think Uncharted would be, just going back to all of those games would be my choice. Because
it's a great one.
This is kind of like a little insight to how cheesy I am, I had to go back and like watch like a recap on YouTube of the Uncharted series before I hopped into Uncharted 4 because everyone was like, you got to play this game, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. And ultimately, that didn't really affect my experience with Uncharted 4, and I had a great time with it.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick, man. I mean, genuinely enough, Uncharted, you've luckily played one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, it's actually weird if you ask me to rank them right now. I'd probably go two. No, I'd probably go three, two, four. But I love four. I love
Okay.
four. It's just interesting because four has maybe the weakest set pieces out of the other three, in terms
Hmm.
of like, but it's because most of the action sequences are heavier. They're
Sure.
heavier. They're darker. So it's an interesting one. I love to hear that. So with that said, man, we'll jump right into the PlayStation news now. God of War Faye, I think this is Kratos' wife. I think her name's Faye. A
Yeah.
game is leaked. I don't know if you heard about this,
I did hear about that.
but I am so excited for this, and I hope it gets announced soon. I was actually really hoping that there was going to be a state of play or a PlayStation showcase before we filmed this. Our
God.
luck, it's probably going to be announced for next week,
Yep.
or a week that potentially that we're busy. That's just usually how life goes. But
Yeah.
God of War Faye, it seems like the rumor is that this is going to be a DMC type of style game, so Devil May Cry, a little bit more heavier on the action, probably more like the original God of War stuff,
Sure.
which I think would line up and see, okay, this is why Kratos fell in love with this girl. She's a badass.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that comes from this leak is the fact that this game is apparently not just going to feature the Norse mythology, but it's going to jump through other mythologies. How do you feel about that? Are you a fan of the God of War games? Like, where is your kind of temper with that?
Yeah, definitely a fan of the God of War games. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I
Okay.
have a little
Yeah,
Kratos
yeah,
print in the
yeah.
background. Yeah, that was also one of the games that I was behind on and had to jump into, and catch up on. But
Mm-hmm.
um, the whole idea of it, like diving into other mythologies, makes a lot of sense because we were hearing rumors like last year, I think, that there might be some sort of Greek mythology God of War game, and we really had no idea what character this would be centered around. I know that there's a lot of speculation that we could get a Loki game or jumping back into another Kratos
Mm-hmm.
storyline, but I think I'm down for anything God of War in this universe, whether it's
Same.
Faye, Kratos, um,
Atreus.
Atreus. I'm down for whichever those are. So that news gets me excited. I feel like this is one of those like tea kettle moments where like
Mm-hmm.
slowly last year we started hearing a little bit of noise about another God of War game, and then we had this most recent one. I think, is it God of War Sparta? Maybe this little
Ragnarok. Oh,
the
oh, the little one. Yeah, God of
yeah
War Sparta or something like
yeah
that. I
yeah
still
yeah.
haven't beaten it. I've been playing it, but yeah,
I have not touched that yet. I do want to get
it's
into
cool.
that, but it is like one of those moments when that got announced where I was like, "Oh, was this what they were talking about? Like, is this what the leaks
Mm-hmm.
were about?" And I'm happy to hear that there is something bigger for God of War. So I'm 100% into this like idea, and I hope it does get announced at a state of play sometime soon.
Yeah, no, man, me too. I imagine it's probably coming soon, or at least announced soon. It just seems like that's how the PlayStation ecosystem goes. So, rounding that out, Saros is launching soon, which you've never played Returnal. I think we've kind of discussed that you don't know if you're going to get Saros. I am still. I need to see the reviews on this one to really
Sure.
decide if I'm going to be getting it, but it does look awesome. It looks cool visually. Returnal for me is one of the coolest games PlayStation's ever launched, and I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like any more thoughts for you on Saros? I know some of the preview stuff coming out came out earlier, and they were pretty fairly good. And I liked some of the things of lifestyle that they put in here. Like Returnal was like, if you died, you're starting all the way back. You got to run through everything, and I was like,
Yeah.
bro, like you'll go on such a great hour run, and then it's like that's the worst feeling. Where Saros kind of lets you, okay, you died. You can start back with whatever area you were in. That's
Yeah.
totally fine. How are you feeling with this? Does that maybe make you want to jump into this or?
Here's the thing. I like sometimes I can just see a game and just be like, not really going to be my style of game.
Yeah.
But I always want to give everything a shot. I did the same thing with Death Stranding too. Like that's not
Oh,
typically my style of game that I would gravitate towards.
yeah.
Um, but if I have an opportunity to not have to pay full price for the game, I'm gonna try it no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what happened with Death Stranding 2 for me. I was somebody was kind enough to give me a code for it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to dive into it. And actually, that game kind of surprised me. I actually enjoyed a good bit of it.
We'll get into it more when we get to experiences. But
okay, yeah.
Comparing that game to the first game, like, genuinely, like, blew my mind. Like,
yeah.
I really liked the first one. The second game, like, blew my mind. Like,
no, I'm happy to hear that.
I'm trying to platinum it right now, and I never try to platinum games. I'm being honest with you, unless I really like the game.
That's one of those ones where, like, I just was like, I like to, with games, and we'll get back to what we were talking about before, but with games in general, like, I like to fly through them because I'm just so hooked into the story. That was one of those games where I literally was like, I need to pace myself here, else I'm not going to finish this game. So, but 1,000%. Yeah, back to, like, Saros. It's one of those games where I'm going to see what the reviews are like, and ultimately it's going to probably be one of those games that I'm going to try out once it gets on PlayStation Plus or whatever it is.
Agree. Yeah, once it goes cheaper, that's probably where I'm at too. My backlog's so bad right now that I can't imagine grabbing another game, because I'm like 4 games behind. 4 games downloaded on my PlayStation that I'm behind, but I've probably bought in almost 20, 30 games or been gifted games that I just, like, literally have not touched at all. So, that's tough, I mean, that's having a kid, right? You got to prioritize what you really want to play. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, from there, the last news thing was, this actually came out yesterday, was that the PlayStation 6, which is probably on the horizon, I imagine it'll be announced later this year, probably come out next year. I'm praying they just do it in 2028, because it's like, how much stronger could it actually be? I have a PlayStation 5 Pro, so, like, I honestly genuinely can't imagine how much stronger it'll actually be, but the PS6 will have backwards compatible, and it'll be PS4 and PS5. I think that's respectful. I really wish they could have snuck the PS3 on, because I'm a collector on PS3 games, so, like, that's my favorite console of all time is the PS3, so I was genuinely really hoping that they would allow us to do backwards compatibility one day. How do you feel about this? Does this excite you as someone that can now, like, maybe still keep that in mind, that you can jump back to older stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, ultimately you want to experience those games, even though they are usually a decade plus older.
Yeah.
You want to experience that on the best possible console that you can get it on. And, I mean, that definitely is something that excites me. Did you say that the rumor was like 2028 for the PS6?
2027, 2028 is the rumor right now.
God, it just feels like it flew by. Like, this generation just flew by for me. I don't know why. I ultimately
I know why. I think I know why. It's that not a lot of games came out. I mean, that's kind of the truth. Like, there's not a lot of exclusives. Like, there's maybe 1 or 2 a big, like, every year, where, like, I felt like with the PS4 it was like 3 a year. Then, like, if you go back to the PS3, it was like way more than that. So,
and for the PS4 as well, there were also, like, a lot of cross-gen heavy hitters, like Red Dead 2 and stuff like that. Like, there were, like, the PlayStation, like, exclusives, and then it sprinkled in between were, like, these huge heavy-hitting games, and it just felt like you were always playing something, one of these AAA titles. I definitely agree with that. That's a great point.
Yeah. Well, with that said, man, let's jump into our main topic now, because we're talking about our top 10 PlayStation, like, experiences of this generation. I do have 2 honorable mentions, if you don't mind me sharing those. I don't know if you have any.
I have one, yeah.
Perfect. So I got 2. One is Ghost of Yōtei. I'm currently going through it, and I'm really, like, mesmerized by the graphics itself. The story's not truly pulling me in, but the gameplay itself and the graphics has just won me over. Yeah. To be honest with you, even more than Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, I was more locked into the story, less on all the grindiness aspects of everything else. Ghost of Yōtei is a little bit different this time around, and I'm really digging that. And the first, like, roaming, like, through the, like, the fort, like, just, like, all the petals coming up, I was like, what am I playing? This is so gorgeous. Like, I was so locked in. So, like, just as an experience, that opening sequence or just area, like, blew my mind. And every time I jump into it, I feel that same way. My other one, a little bit cheesy, I might turn off some viewers from this, but Fortnite. Now, it's not for the reason that most people think. I know Fortnite's been around since the PS4, but my wife finally got into it during the PS5. Like, she'll only play this game. I don't know why. We've played other games, but this is the one that she's like, I can just turn my brain off and we can go and win a game. And, that for me, that's a win. It's an experience. We try to play it at least, like, every other day or maybe twice a week, but it's fun for that part. What about you, man? What's your honorable mention?
Okay, so that kind of made me think of another one that I'm gonna end up having two honorable mentions. So
perfect.
First one, so I actually was able to. I was struggling to get like PlayStation exclusive titles on my top 10 list, because originally I was trying to do exclusive to the PS5, and then I was like, this is really tough. Yeah, so I was like, okay, we're gonna have to do some cross-gen in there, and I'm like, we might have to get some games from different studios that aren't PlayStation studios. I ended up finding a way to get all PlayStation games on the top 10, even though there are some cross-gen. But going to my honorable mentions, these are one of them's not really PlayStation, but honorable mention number 1 is going to be Jedi Survivor, one of my favorites. Like I talked to my friend who's a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm like, this is one of the things that are like keeping me in Star Wars right now. I've loved some of the stuff that's come out for Star Wars for movies and television.
Me too.
All, by the way, is really phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But nothing kind of like captures that excitement that I had when like The Force Awakens was coming out, like the Jedi Survivor series. So that is one, and Cal has become one of my favorite Star Wars characters, so that is one I had to put in there. Next one is the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Yes.
You're talking about your wife and having that experience with her. This is the one that me and my wife were able to beat over the course of a couple weeks, and we had just a ton of fun just laughing at each other as we made stupid mistakes. And it's not really like a huge game. I think it got released on the PS4 actually, but we revisited that for fun and had a great time with that. It was a great couple weeks that we played that, like an hour a night. So
I love that. I love to hear that. I love that, man. Me and my wife have definitely had a couple games like that. Through her pregnancy, Astro Bot was actually one of the big ones. Hour a day, we would try it, play it. We'd just take turns as we died. It was really fun. But I guess that jumps us into our top 10, man. So my number 10 is actually not a game. It is getting a PS5 opening day.
God,
so I wanted one so bad, and I actually I've been going to the same GameStop since the 360 days. To the point to where like the managers, if one leaves, the next manager will tell like, hey, this kid, he comes in, or this teenager, I guess at that point, or this young adult comes in, just help him. And it was really cool because like it got to the point where like I was only 16 and I was able to go in there and buy M-rated games. Like no one cared, no one said anything, no one ever checked my ID. They just let me buy anything because they knew my parents were fine with it. Like they're not gonna say anything. Like so. It got to the point where we had this awesome manager, and I don't want to give his name out there because I don't know if he still works for GameStop, and I don't want to get him in trouble. But basically, he texted me while they were in a meeting saying, the PS5s are going to go on pre-order in 10 minutes. You should come to the store. Because they were going to announce it. PlayStation was going to announce it as well.
Yeah.
Dude, I left work early. I straight up told my manager, I was like, I'm dipping. I'll be back in like 30 minutes, but like, I'm dipping. Drove over there, pre-ordered. He can only let me pre-order one. Shout out to him. Then I was a little worried because then there was rumors that GameStop might go under, so I was like, okay, well, I got to get one at least pre-ordered somewhere else. So then I ended up getting Amazon pre-order, which worked out because I ended up giving that one to my friend who wanted it, and he just paid me or whatever. But getting one opening day, being able to go there, I pre-ordered every game that was coming out opening day because I was like, I don't know, it's cool. Obviously, I just played Miles Morales opening day, but
yeah, for sure,
it was cool to go from a PS4 to that and just have that experience. And like my wife calls herself I guess she was my fiance at that point. She was the getaway driver. So she sat in the car waiting as there was this huge line. There was also a lot of like sketchy people too kind of walking around like staring at people who weren't. Anyways, I got that. I ran out, jumped in the car, we left. And it was an amazing first day. So that's my number 10, man. What about you?
I just have to say that's pretty insane that you were able to get one on launch because it took me like 2 years to finally get a PlayStation.
Tough.
5.
It got to the point where anytime that store had one, he would text me and I would start telling everyone. I would start telling my friends, like, hey, he has this. Like, if you want one, you tell me. I will tell him to put it on hold, and he will put it on hold for you. So I ended up getting, like, most of my friends a PS5, like, within the first month or two. And the same thing worked for the Series X. So it was pretty nice.
Honestly, I feel like I have a very vague, like, memory of us texting as I was, like, trying to find or DMing each other.
I feel like, I remember this, Yeah,
I think you were trying to help me out. I was just, like, struggling big time for whatever reason.
I think I was getting to the point where if you weren't gonna get one, I was just gonna tell you, like, do you just want me to find one out here and just ship it to you? Because like,
dude, yeah,
it probably would have been the stronger thing. Yeah, dude. If you ever struggle to get some sort of piece of technology or something, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know in
I can probably find. Yeah.
PS6
I can probably find
comes around.
something.
Okay, so my number 10. This is kind of me going back to me being a late bloomer in terms of the PlayStation fanboy that I am. Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster.
Ooh,
and this is like,
great one. Yeah.
It's really tough because like I see all these people get really disappointed when they hear remasters happen, especially when it's like from PS4 to PS5. It's not like a PS2 or PS3 game going to PS5. So I totally understand everyone's complaints when they, they're watching a PlayStation State of Play and they're like, this game's remastered, and they're like, another remaster. I get that. For me personally, I did not play the original, and I was like, I'm going to get the best version of this game, and it was something that really blew me away, and I immediately hopped into the second game after that, but I was a huge fan of the first one, and I have very fond memories of it. I think I got it for Christmas, so it's like one of those things. I don't know how it works but for you, but like I don't know why, but whatever I'm playing during Christmas time, I don't know why, it just like it sticks with me a little bit better.
It's more special. It's more special.
Yeah, you just like the vibes are good, and like you're excited for the holidays or whatever you celebrate, and so that one just stuck with me for sure.
No, speaking about the holiday thing, it's actually funny. Most of my favorite games, like if you were asking me my top 10 favorite games, most of them were played around the holidays first. And I think it's just because I got it as a gift and then just kind of jumped into it. And Horizon's a great one, man. I loved Forbidden West on the PS5. I did really like the last one, or the first one as well.
Sure.
I haven't played it in years, though. I never got to pick up the remaster, but you make a great point. Some people didn't have a PS4, and that's kind of like why these remasters are sometimes cool, because to see the technical upgrades.
Yeah.
I get it. I've probably complained once or twice about one of these before, but you make a great point on that.
It's very valid.
Yeah. For me, my number 9 is, I think, this is one of the, out of the two that is not a PlayStation exclusive. So my number 9, I almost put this a little bit higher because of how much I still play this game. I maybe play this game once a week. Like, I just like jumping into the game. It's Cyberpunk 2077 and the journey of that game. So, game comes out, PS4, it doesn't work. Yeah. PS5, it does work. It's still buggy as hell, but it does not work whatsoever. And I'm still having fun with it. Like, I'm just having a blast. I got the collector's edition. I'm all good with it. And then every time they updated that game, I hop back in, it's better. Then they put out the PS5 version. It's like, oh my god, this is so much better. Then they put out this massive add-on that changes the entire game. And it's incredible. I've replayed this game way too many times. I've rebought this game for the Switch, the PS4, the PS5, like whatever amount of times. I know they do free upgrades, but I like the physical copies. But
for sure,
I loved my time with Cyberpunk. I cannot wait for the sequel. It is one of my favorite games of all time. Probably also because it came out around Christmas time. But I cannot, like, I love this game so much. So the journey of seeing this like grow and getting to revisit it and constantly jump in. And then, like, they just put out the PS5 Pro update, so of course, I jumped on immediately to see the ray tracing and everything, and I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like, it is truly a next-gen game, and I highly recommend it to anyone.
It's probably one of those games that really helps showcase what the PS5 can do, so... I have not played Cyberpunk. I own it. I have not actually, like, went into it yet. That's one of those games where I just need to clear some space. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I bought it a little bit after the time when it launched, but it was still buggy, and I just was like, I'm going to hang on to this until, I can get to it. Yeah. I was, like, debating on, like, should I play it on PC? But I ended up getting it on PlayStation 5.
Why not? Why not?
That's where we're at with that, and I can't wait to play it, especially after hearing you hype it up.
I'm excited,
so I guess... my number 9, this might surprise people because I am such a huge Marvel gaming fanboy, is going to be Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Wow, okay. This didn't even make mine, by the way. This didn't even make mine.
It didn't make yours? Okay, so totally fair. It was, I don't know, I think it's just a mixture of, like, the game is amazing to me, but also just like the feelings that I had around the time that game came out. Another holiday game, but it came, with the PS5's launch, but it also launched on PS4. I had to play it on PS4, and then I replayed it on PS5, and just enjoyed that game so much. I also just loved how much of a surprise that game was, because I remember when the initial teaser trailer came out for that game, I just was like, oh, we're getting like Spider-Man 2, like a Spider-Man 2 teaser right now. And then, of course, it becomes Miles Morales, and I'm like, how did they keep that under wraps? But it was just
really
such a cool, small-scale game, and I think it was a really cool way to kind of kick off the PS5's launch. For a lot of people, that was like their game that they got for launch. But I love the game. I love that whole universe, and I had to find a way to make sure that it was on my top 10.
Yeah, no, man, that's a fantastic one to pick. I'm curious to see if my number 8 is also on yours. I'm sure it is, but it's probably a little bit higher than mine. My number 8, I'll jump right into it. Ratchet and Clank: Rift Apart. I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank fan. If you ask like Jack and Dax or Sly Cooper Ratchet and Clank back in the day, it's like I've always been a Ratchet and Clank guy, and I love the characters, and I genuinely think Rift Apart is top 3 for the entire world. I wish the game was longer. That was my main and only issue with it. I just thought it was a little too short. But like, in terms of like next gen power, this felt like the next gen game. This felt like the first honest to god next gen video game, and I loved my entire existence with it. So if it's up on your list more, you can just jump right into your number 8. But if it's not, feel free to throw some words on it.
I'll definitely expand upon that at some point in time during this. Cool. But I definitely agree that deserves a top 10 spot.
Love that.
Showcases the PS5. My number 8 is going to be another controversial one. I don't think it's probably going to be on your list. I put The Last of Us, the newest version that they put out. Is it The Last of Us Part 1 for the PS5? It's like the complete remake of The Last of Us, not technically a remaster, but The Last of Us was the next game that I played after Spider-Man PS4. So it was the first game that I played that was a PlayStation game after getting a PlayStation 4. And I'm going to tell you right now, I do not like horror games. I love horror movies, but horror games are like zombie games, anything related to that. I do not like it. Yeah, it's just like it's too immersive for me. I'm like, I can't do it, But the story of The Last of Us just captured me so much, so that I just fell in love with that game and that whole franchise as a whole. And this is definitely the definitive way to play that game. It looks incredible on the PS5. I know that they've remade this game to hell, but I do not care. I love jumping back into this version specifically because it just is so incredible. So that is...
You're not wrong there. It is not on my list, but The Last of Us is my favorite video game of all time.
Okay, good.
I bought the remaster. I bought the special edition, actually. I own the special edition of both. Like, I have a whole entire case just for Last of Us memorabilia. Like, I am obsessed with it. So happy I made yours. I do play the game every single year. So, like, I'll just leave it at that.
Same.
I just didn't put it in mine because I'd played it so many times that, like, for me, it was, like, not really, like, new to me.
Yeah, sure.
Jumping to my number 7 is Returnal. As I mentioned off the top, like when we were talking about Saros, like that game really blew my mind. And what was interesting was the game that they made before Returnal was called a game called Resogun on the PS4. It was actually a free title on the PS4 first day. And it was a really cool like side-scroll shooting game, and it threw it back to the old days like Galaga. And I had a blast with it. I played it way too much. Returnal was a first day buy for me because I love that game so much. And I never beat it because I always died. But I kept going back to it and back to it and back to it, to the point where I did fall in love with that type of game, as frustrating as it could be. So just the experience of not knowing what Returnal was, honestly just buying it because I was on the PlayStation hype train and wanted to play all the exclusives, and I was massively surprised, because if I would have looked more into the game, I would have never bought it. Would have never bought in that game. So I'm happy that I did, and I got that experience. Should I have bought it for full price? Probably not. I was the only person out of everyone I talked to that ever bought it for full price, and also the only person I've ever talked to that ever bought the game. So we'll leave it at that. But I really enjoyed that game. It was a really big surprise.
Was a Returnal a PS5 exclusive? It wasn't on PS4, right? Okay.
It wasn't on PS4, and I don't even think they ever ported it to PC. I think it's one of the few that literally is only on the PS5.
That's kind of surprising.
Really, Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool, man. If it ever is on discount, I do recommend picking it, even if you know you're never gonna beat
Yeah,
it,
I
because
feel
it
like
is
I may
really
have
hard.
seen it. I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but I feel like I may have seen it on PlayStation Plus. Probably not. Who knows?
Okay,
There's just so many games that I just
one
can't
hundred
keep up.
percent there is.
All right, so we're on 7, right?
Yeah, 7.
So, my number 7 is Ghost of Tsushima, the director's
Great pick.
cut.
Hmm.
um, Not typically a type of game that I gravitate towards, but when I got my PS5, I was immediately like, by the way, I did not play this game on PS4, so my first time playing it was on PS5, the director's cut, and I wanted to just play anything and everything on the PS5 once I got my PS5,
Hmm.
and I gave it a shot and fell in love with this character specifically and this world, the gameplay mechanics, and to this day I still believe like it may be different, but for a long time I think I felt like this was like one of the best PS5 experiences you could get. Specifically, I thought all the cool things that they did with the DualSense controller, just even the fact that the controller feels different when you're running on planks as opposed to like
Yeah,
grass or something like that was just something so cool because I was like, wow, this is what um, the PS5 was meant to feel like. Like this
it's the
taking
future.
full
Yeah,
advantage. Yeah, like we're really taking advantage of this console. And on top of that, the story was just so phenomenal, so much so that I think that they're
agree.
making a movie by. I think one of the John Wick
Yeah.
directors is making a movie about it. So,
Yeah, the
it's
main one. I think it's the main guy, the one who actually
is
does
it
like direct every single. It's
is it
David
Chad
Leach.
Stahelski?
No,
Oh,
no,
David Lee. Okay.
Chad Stileski's supposed to be doing
Okay.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Cool. I'm there day one. So,
same, same.
and I'm also just a sucker for revenge stories as it is.
Hmm.
So that game definitely won me over. So number 7 for me.
I love that. So my number 6 is another hard game. It's Elden Ring.
Oof.
I hate and love the Souls games. I sucked at Dark Souls 1 and 2. I enjoyed Dark Souls 3. I actually beat it. I love Bloodborne. That's maybe one of my favorite games of all time. But Elden Ring is unlike anything I'd ever played before. And it was a game that, honestly, when I first played the first few hours, I hated it. I was like, this is why everyone, I don't know. And I
Yeah.
stopped playing it for a week, and then I went back to it because I started watching other people play it, and I was like, let me restart a character and go through it, and I fell in love with it. I have always gone back to this game. This is another one of those that's like Cyberpunk. I've replayed the game maybe 8, 9 times, which was not to my because the game gets harder every single time. Was not to
Sure.
my dismay when the DLC came out because I it took me forever to beat the DLC because I was just getting my butt wiped to the floor because I could not beat anything. And it was a great experience, and maybe this is part of it is because when I did finally 100% the game, 100% of that DLC, nothing left to do. I platinumed the game, and I beat the final boss on the DLC. Was the day before my wife her water broke. So
Oh my
I have just
gosh,
it was
dude.
perfect timing. I told her I want to beat this game before he's
Yeah.
here, and it was perfect timing. He was late by 1 week just so I could beat Elden Ring. That's what I like to say. So
Golly, dude.
it was a great jump into that, man. I love Elden Ring, and I cannot wait for the movie. I cannot wait for the movie next year
That's gonna
that
be
they're
crazy,
making
man.
right now. Yeah,
Yes.
A24 is making it, dude. So I'm like,
A24, man, one of the best
yeah,
studios out there.
yeah. They have
Yeah.
Death Stranding as well. So I'm like,
That's
oh
crazy, dude. Just give them
yeah,
honestly, low key, give them all the video game titles. Like,
I agree.
we need more good video game movies. So
1000%, 1000%.
yeah,
Well,
that
what's your number 6, man?
number 6 is to no surprise probably for most people. Um, if you don't know my like people who are listening, not you obviously know, but
Yeah,
my whole thing on my individual channel is that I'm a Marvel game creator, and
yep.
specifically I talk about the Marvel Spider-Man series to death. So my number 6 spot is going to be Spider-Man Remastered, um, new face and all. I'll take it. That game obviously was my introduction to Spider-Man, and when I heard that they were going to do a remaster of that game with ray tracing and faster, pretty much no load times,
Yeah,
I was so jealous of everyone that got to play that game. I had to sit and wait for 2 years for my opportunity to play Spider-Man Remastered. It unfortunately doesn't. The story holds up. It holds up so
yeah.
well. The gameplay does not hold up as well because I have replayed it recently. It just feels
Hmm.
so slow because unfortunately they blew. Insomniac killed it with Spider-Man 2, and it makes it
Yeah.
so hard to go back to that game. But I just have so many fond memories of that game, so I could not possibly make a top 10 list without putting that on there somehow.
Dude, the remaster was fantastic, but I do agree with you. Other than the story, it's hard to go back because of Spider-Man
It's so
2.
tough.
Which I'm sure we'll both talk about sometime in this video. My number 5 is God of War Ragnarok. Genuinely enough, maybe my favorite God of War game of all time. I've played every single one. I love them all. But this one just really surprised me in terms of story and lore, and to the point that I used to, and I try to still do it once a year, but it's really hard. When a game comes out that I'm really excited for, I try to have a day. I'll take time off from work, and I will sit there and try and beat the game in one sitting. I used to do it pretty good, but God of War Ragnarok was the last one I did do religiously, where I sat down and I did not stop playing until I beat the game.
That is impressive.
And it was, and then I immediately replayed it right afterwards, so I could platinum it and do everything I needed to do. But I love my time with God of War Ragnarok, and I can't wait for the future of Kratos. That was such... I don't want to use the word baller, because that's not really my verbiage, but like it kind of feels like it feels like Santa Monica was just showing off with the game. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I loved it, man.
So my number 5, you already touched on it earlier, is going to be Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Obviously, this was literally Insomniac being like, hey, let me show you what the PS5 can do.
Yeah.
On top of that, the actual animations are god tier. Some of them are just like as close to Pixar movie as you can when it comes to like the cinematics. And also jumping, like, that was my first Ratchet and Clank game, so I just have to say that right off the get-go. But like, that game really threw you into the action in the best way possible when that game starts off. And from that moment, I think I beat it in like 2 days, maybe a weekend. I was hooked, and that is such an easy replay for me as well.
Yeah.
Just because I just want to hop into play something like fun. And I love how I feel like anybody can really enjoy that game. So that definitely was one that I had to put on my list.
It's a great pick. I gotta say, if you've never played Infamous Second Son for the PS4, which I don't, maybe you haven't. Have you?
I haven't, no, but I've heard really good things about that.
I think you would really enjoy it, because it does have that replayability like Ratchet and Clank. That was like my game on the PS4. Like, I just kept replaying it. Shockingly, I've never platinumed it, even though I'm literally missing one trophy for that. Same with Ratchet and Clank. I'm literally missing one trophy.
Get it, man.
I know. My number what are we at? Number 4. My number 4, actually, what's wild to me is if you were to ask me like top 10 PlayStation 5 exclusives, I probably would arguably put this at my number 2. I put it at my number 4 just in terms of the experience, and mostly because it took me 75 hours to beat. And I'm still trying to go through it and just have fun with it, but story-wise, 75 hours. But it's Final Fantasy Rebirth. So this is the second in the Final Fantasy VII remake stuff. And it genuinely blew me away, because I love the original Final Fantasy VII game, but like the first remake was really good. This is masterpiece level of like storytelling, of gameplay, of exploration. It really just blew me away in terms of everything that they were able to do with that game. And I cannot wait for the finale, which is rumored to come out next year. I hope that's true, because I needed it. I need it now. I needed it yesterday. I needed it a year ago. I need it now.
Okay, so I've not played any Final Fantasy games.
Okay.
What's your 20-second pitch on why I should play Final Fantasy? And which one should I jump into if I've never played one?
1000% start with the remix. Start with 7 and just jump in part 1, part 2. They're incredible RPGs that have incredible gameplay, but specifically it's the story and the characters, and I think 7 has one of the strongest pieces of that. Have you ever played Kingdom Hearts at all?
Yeah, I actually have. And I played the PS4 one.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. It's the gameplay, like the gameplay's awesome for those games. This is like to a whole other fold. But the story itself is like the strongest part. And Rebirth is amazing, man. It's amazing. If you like RPG stuff, I highly recommend.
I think you have sold me on it. Like, if you tell me that a game has a great story and I don't enjoy the gameplay a ton, I will stick with that game. If the story is like number 1 for me in single player games, and then gameplay comes second, in my opinion. So I will find a way to power through gameplay that I don't love And who knows?
that.
I might love Final Fantasy gameplay. I'm not saying I won't, but like if the story's good enough, I will find a way to power through. So
It's funny. The only other Final Fantasy game that was actually exclusive for a little bit before it moved over to Xbox, which I think is like 15 or 16 that came out. I actually did not like the combat was incredible. The combat was so amazing. I hated the story. I never beat it. I played 10 hours of it and I couldn't get into it, and it killed me that I couldn't.
Yeah,
it killed me because it looked so awesome. But yeah. But dude, what's your number 4 now? Because we're getting up there.
Yeah, number 4 is number 4 is God of War Ragnarok.
Perfect. Yep.
God, dude, God tier game, God tier character, and it, it's just one of the best PS5 experiences that I've had from a graphical standpoint, gameplay standpoint, cinematic, all of the above. And I also just want to I don't think you touched it on your point about the game, but that DLC that came out was so fun and so addicting.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, dude, like I could not stop playing that DLC. It was so good. And it was like a shadow drop. Yes, shadow drop around Christmas time is God of War Ragnarok. It's already got like kind of the Christmas vibes, cold weather. So that was one of those things where I'm like, I had to beat it. And let me tell you, it took me a long time to beat it. Not really a long time, a few weeks, but
it was tough. It was tough.
Dude, it was so hard. It was so hard. But it really, I think it made me a better player when I go back and replay those games. Having to go through that circuit, I just enjoyed that. So I had to give a shout out to that DLC and Santa Monica for giving us a free DLC because that was just phenomenal.
Hell yeah, man. I love when we get free stuff. You know what I mean? It just expands the gaming stuff. So, which, speaking of my number 3, we've got a lot of free add-ons for this. Astro Bot. Dude, like I told you earlier, like, this was the game me and my wife loved playing. Like, I love this game. Maybe one of the best platformers. It was my game of the year that year. I just couldn't get enough of that game. It was so fun, and I can't wait to see what they do next. It was creative. It was intelligent. I love the throwbacks to all the other PlayStation eras. It's a celebration of PlayStation, and I can't believe how great the game is. I'm assuming it's on your list, so I will stop there, but it's great.
Yep, it's somewhere on here.
Okay.
So my number 3 is you mentioned it earlier. For me, it's Ghost of Yōtei, and I did not think that I could possibly love the sequel more because I love Ghost of Tsushima so freaking much. But Ghost of Yōtei really won me over, specifically with the story. Again, it is another revenge tale, which again I'm all for. But there is parts of this game, and did you say you haven't finished it?
I haven't finished it. To be honest with you, I've only killed the big armored one. What's his name? Not the Ronin, but he had like a cool mask and he had like a whole. You meet her brother there. You meet her brother.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one I killed because I just have screwed around so much in those 2 areas.
Yeah, for real. So I am a type of gamer that likes to just power through the main story very fast.
I usually am the same way.
Okay, cool. Good. Yeah. I'm glad that we agree on that because most people give me crap for it all the time. No. Like, you need to explore.
I like going back.
Do all this
I like
stuff.
going back and exploring.
Same here. This was the one time where I did not do that because, like you said, like the atmosphere and just the world was just so freaking immersive. I could not help myself from stopping at different little things and just talking to different people. Every time that little bird flew by me, I was like, I'm down, let's go.
It's like you're like Doug from Up. You're just like Squirrel and you're just turning and just going wherever that bird's going.
Absolutely. And it's like taking me in the opposite direction of where I want to go with the main mission, which is usually what I'm after when I play video games. So that was one of those games. But also I need to just say the story, being a father and playing through that story I'm not sure if I would have it as highly ranked before I had a child as I do right now. So that is just what I'll say. There is just some really touching moments. And as a dad, it really, really resonated with me. And that is why I have it a lot higher on my list. So
having a kid really changes your perspective on a lot. It's changed my perspective in terms of reviewing movies now. So weirdly enough, I say this, like, I usually, when I go to a movie, like, sometimes my rating is based on, was it worth not hanging out with my family? And that sounds bad, but it's
dude.
kind of the truth, because some people are busy and can't go see stuff. So it's like, most
Absolutely.
people have families as well. It's like, is it worth not hanging out with my kid to go and see that movie? And that's kind of where I'm at, too. And sometimes I kind of feel the same thing with games. So
Yeah.
I love that, man. We're coming into our top 2. I think my number 2, this is my prediction, my number 2 is probably going to be your number 1. So that's just what I'm thinking. But my number 2 is Spider-Man 2. I took 3 days off from work, and it took me 2 days to beat the game. So I did not sit all the way through this one because I just mentally could not. But I did play, like, I played a big chunk, and then, like, the next day I played another big chunk, and I was severely depressed after beating it because I was like, oh man, I feel like I just let a great thing go that fast. It was like eating a cake, like a big cake you get, and you eat the whole thing, and you're
absolutely.
like, oh, that's it.
The cake that you've been
literally
looking
an
forward
incredible
to for
experience.
5 years.
Yeah, and it's like Venom's one of my favorite characters. That if people are watching the video version, I have literally a carpet of Venom and Spider-Man. Like, I'm obsessed with that character, and I thought they nailed it. I wish the game was longer. I think it could have been longer, but the gameplay itself was so fun. And are we allowed to talk spoilers? Like, is that fine?
Let's
Like,
do
most
it.
people play it. Dude, anti-Venom spider suit, when he got the one, I jumped. I jumped out of my seat, said, oh my god, I'm flipping out. My wife's just hearing me in my office, just screaming along.
Yeah.
I'm going out there trying to explain everything to her, and she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just know you're playing Spider-Man.
That suit is so underrated.
It's awesome. I wanted the Hot Toys so bad for it, man. I just couldn't, like, fathom getting it. Like, I just
You should
couldn't.
let everyone know that you have quite a number of Spider-Man Hot Toys, but you do have some from Spider-Man 2.
Yes, I have the black suit and I have the Venom one. So I want the. I may go pick up the Scarlet Spider because I saw a shop had him.
Yeah.
Just because that's my favorite spider suit of all time. But regardless, man, what is your number 2? I highly doubt it's Spider-Man. If it is, I'm gonna be shocked.
No, definitely not. This game is worthy of my number 2 spot though, and it's Astro Bot, and you kind of touched on it.
Yes.
I cannot wait to play this with my wife because we had so much fun with Crash. I know she's gonna love this.
Yeah.
I know she's gonna love the challenges behind that game because I struggled with portions of Astro Bot. But yeah, it is the ultimate showcase of the PlayStation 5. It is the ultimate celebration of PlayStation as a whole. I love all the little Easter eggs sprinkled throughout, and like the freaking Kratos Astro Bot, and like all just getting to experience.
It was always fun seeing which character you were gonna find next. Like that was my whole big thing. Like, oh my god, it's that one. Like some that I didn't even expect to be in there. Yeah. Spyro blew my mind. I was like, what? Dude. Spyro's in the game?
Spyro, so underrated. But that was just like an incredible experience. Love Astro Bot. It is easily one of those ones where you're like, I feel like gaming, but I don't really feel like, frying my brain and like getting too deep into something. But nonetheless, you will end up sitting there playing for over an hour because you're just having fun.
It's so enjoyable. And it gets so hard. It gets so hard.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. There is a challenge component to that game. It's not just a breeze. Mm-hmm. But yeah, also my game of the year for that year as well. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's just it is going to become one of those games years from now. When you think about PlayStation, you're going to think about Astro Bot. Yeah. Like, I'm not sure if it will, the Astro Bot will be on the Mount Rushmore of PlayStation characters or
it's not. Arguably their mascot now.
Feels like it, yeah. So, but yeah, that's my number 2.
Cool.
God, I'm so curious to hear your number 1 now.
My number 1 is Death Stranding 2.
Okay.
Blown away by it. Blown utterly away by it to the point where I was like, I should have taken off work to play this game. So I was a fan of the first one. I've always liked Kojima. I really love the Metal Gear Solid stuff. But I've never been like diehard on it personally. Like, I love it. I've just never been diehard on it. I like the characters more than the story per se. And Death Stranding 1, it took me 3 years to beat the game. Because I would slowly come back to it, but I could never get into it. I always loved the world and the characters and the mythology, but I just could not get into the gameplay.
Yeah.
Until I told my friend, I was like, this is where I'm at. Like, how much more do I have? And they're like, oh, once you get past this next mission, it's almost all story the rest of the game. So it's like, it's a weird thing, because the first game was like, story for 5 hours, then 20 hours of missions with no story,
Yeah.
and then the back half, all 10 hours of story. The second game spread it apart, spread it perfectly, and it did exactly what I wanted. It expanded the world. I cared so heavily. There's twists and turns that I was so mad that someone spoiled for me on Twitter because someone tagged me. They're like, "Oh, do you know this?" And I'm like, "Why would I know that? Why would I know that about the game?" The twists, the turns, everything about it. Wherever they take this world next, I have thoughts and theories. I think there's a potential to do a third game, of course, with the same mechanics, but I think there's a potential to do a spin-off like Devil May Cry with a select character. I don't know how far you got into the game, but Elle Fanning's character, make a Devil May Cry version and let her use her combat, because, oh my god, I'd be all for it. I love this game so wholeheartedly, and I think it hit me so much because I'm a dad now. I teared up multiple times throughout the ending of the game.
Yeah, I think
so. And the final boss. Oh my god, amazing!
I think I probably only have like 25 hours in that game, and it's a lot of just like exploring and doing silly stuff.
Yeah.
The whole reason that I even picked it up to begin with, or like had interest in it, was because I am a dad, and so many people were like, "You're really gonna like this game because you're a dad now." So yeah, I mean, I did not put it in my top 10 list just because I haven't finished it, and I haven't had that full experience. I will say this: the biggest complaint that I heard about the first game was pacing issues, and you pretty much like hit the nail on the head. Yeah, and so I was so surprised when I jumped into the second game. I did watch like a YouTube thing about the story before I jumped into it.
Yeah,
but
it was probably like 30 minutes long.
Oh, dude, dude,
I
I had to rewind multiple times. Yeah, I'm just like,
I had to watch an explanation of the second game just to make sure I understood what was going on.
Yeah. You're like, did I grasp what just happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I was very surprised about the pacing in the second game because I was like just expecting it to be, very choppy. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this feels more like a game that I could really get into, which is why I kind of stuck with it a little bit longer. But it is one of those games that like, it's just like, oh, I have nothing to play. Let's make a little bit more progress on this, which is kind of unfortunate because sometimes I do kind of forget where I was.
Same.
But I'm sticking with it. I'm going to finish that game eventually. So I'm happy that's your number one. I've heard.
We'll have to talk off camera where you're at in the story, because I'll tell you like if I think you're gonna like the rest of the game, you're gonna kind of feel the same way. I'll just tell you, use a car whenever you can. Use a car.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now. Use a car, upgrade the car. You'll have a great time. That's when I started liking the game. Was when I just used a car or an ATV. Personally, for me.
Nah, dude.
So
yeah. I've seen clips of like somebody on an ATV, and I was just like, can't wait for that.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Yes. Definitely helps, man.
Absolutely.
You're number one, man. Just say it.
Number one. Yeah, dude. It is Marvel Spider-Man 2, the game that I've been waiting for forever. Yeah. I spent on my solo channels the better part of 2 years literally making almost daily videos about Marvel Spider-Man 2. Just, dude, I love Insomniac's
I think I watched almost
Spider-Man.
every single one of your videos.
I appreciate it, man. So it was nothing but theorizing nonstop. Maybe half of what I said was true, but nonetheless, the game really delivered on almost everything that I wanted. It is kind of insane that I don't want to say people can criticize games all they want, but it's insane to see people criticize stuff like gameplay and just like in suits and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, there's an endless amount of suits. There's
people will just want to complain.
Dude, absolutely. I'm like, that game delivered on everything that people were constantly commenting on my videos for. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, we have the loop-de-loops swings, and then we have the web wings, and like, dude, the fast travel is incredible.
The slingshot.
Dude, the slingshot. Yeah, I'm like, so many things that people wanted from Spider-Man and PS4, they absolutely delivered on with the mechanics. So gameplay-wise, amazing. Story-wise, amazing.
The Venom sequence, incredible.
Dude, the Venom sequence, the first time you see Venom.
Took so many screenshots, dude. I took so many screenshots in that sequence because I was just like, "Wow, this is amazing."
It's like, God, it immediately is like, okay, I'm slouching while I'm playing this game, and then it's like, oh, okay, like let's lock in here. So, I love that Insomniac, the very first time that they show us Venom ever. they're like, oh, by the way, now that you see Venom, play as Venom. Like,
Yeah.
didn't waste
Give me
any
that
time.
solo game, man. I need that
Dude,
solo game right now.
That's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. So
They
yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
be making it. They have to be making it.
I
It's such an easy win.
yeah, I mean, I know that there was a quote by one of the writers or developers that said they'll listen to the fans if the fans want it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we'll get it. So, and like, who's not going to want a solo Venom game, honestly? Like,
A little bit of an inside ballpark. One of my friends actually got to interview Tony Todd before he passed.
really? Yeah.
And he, let's just say from how the conversation went, it seems like he had recorded something else. A lot more of something else. So that's what I'm hoping to, man. I'm so happy that's your number one. I knew it was probably going to be, I'm not going to lie, but and I do want to say one thing before we get to like the community questions. For people who are watching or listening, I don't think people understand how long I've been following Keenan. I've been following him since he was, what was it, Comic Blast? Was that the channel that you originally had?
Yeah, dude. We did so that's why, like, so my name is Comic Blast Keenan. Comic Blast podcast was a podcast that we did, me and my friends did years ago. It probably is getting close to like 8 years ago.
Thor
Ragnarok?
Was it Ragnarok?
Yeah.
So it was funny. I discovered you around there, and I loved your channel so much, and I just kept watching you. So the fact that like we're collaborating now on this, like, it feels a little giddy to me because like
Dude,
it's so cool to like that we've really become like friends over the years. Like talking about like our kids and stuff. Like
It's
what?
so
like
random.
you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, it definitely is like an insight to our relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching you. This was probably 2017. I want to say like, or it was like in that era of like, oh, Infinity War's coming out, like, or something like that.
All
you
the
know?
hype.
Yeah, dude. And you know, I love movies. I pretty much have always covered comic book movies on whatever I did. So I had like a channel before Comic Blast. It was like the Geek Keenan or some crap, and before I did the podcast. But yeah, so I always did comic stuff, and not a lot of people knew that I loved other movies too. And it was just so refreshing to get to talk to you about all of those movies and watch your content on that. And it is literally one of those things where like I feel like one of us checks on each other like once a month at least.
Randomly,
randomly. Yeah, it's the most random thing. And then like we were having kids around the same time, and it was just like
exactly
a really cool thing that, you know, we got to bond over. And now here we are like talking about PlayStation. It's so sick, dude.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So with that said, we'll throw into the community questions. So we are only going to do 2, but we got a lot more than I expected. So some of these will be a little bit rapid fire. Some of them will not. And then we'll throw it to you guys to, you know, let us know next week what you guys want. Or next week. We'll be doing this semi-monthly. So is it twice a week? Is that what we decided? Yeah. Okay. So we'll do this every other week. So just look out for that. With that said, we'll jump into these community questions. So the first one is, what is your favorite PlayStation system? For me, I had them all. I played them all. Shout out to the PSP. I wish you were better, but you kind of sucked. But I did like it. The PS3 is my favorite one. I think a lot of it is just because of the amount of games that came out during that era. Same thing with the 360. It was just like every studio was trying something different. I loved it so much. So that's my favorite one. It always will be my favorite one. And there's so many games and franchises trapped on there that I begged PlayStation to remaster. I begged them. Remaster Resistance, remaster Infamous, remaster Jak and Daxter, remaster freaking... I know Jak and Daxter's on there, but like, give me more of it. Remaster Killzone. Like, what are we doing? There's so many games on there. I'm like literally like trying to look at what I have right now, but like, there's so many games that just need to be remastered or able to play on there. So, yeah. What about you, man?
I think I would probably have to lean towards the PS4, and just because it was my introduction. Yeah, it is my version of PlayStation nostalgia. Unfortunately, it's so recent, but this is not to say that the PS.
There's still nostalgia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's not to say that the like the PS4 is a better console. It's just like the memories that you had with certain games. I honestly think that like, because it's really tough to say because I don't have the PS3, PS2, and PS1 to think about. It's really just between PS4 and PS5. And right now we're like still in the PS5, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna think on it years down the line. Like, years later, I'm probably going to be like, oh, man, the Spider-Man 2 era and God of War Ragnarok. And, like, I'm going to probably look at that very fondly, too. So that could change over time. So we'll see.
100%. Next question we have is, what is the best feature you would love to see PlayStation implement either for the PS5 or future consoles? PS3 backwards compatibility is my number one, but it's probably never going to happen because how they made that console. So I will say, can I get themes back? PS4 had it perfect with the themes. I love the themes. Now you can change the background. It would change it. Why is this not on the PS5 yet? Blows my mind. That's my easy one. What about you, man?
Okay, so I'm not sure if this is going to directly answer the question, but I'm not a huge fan of the PlayStation UI right now. I like the top tabs at the very top, but like everything below that is just so cluttered, and there's just advertisement here, and it's just like too much for me. I wish the themes were back, honestly. I don't understand why that isn't a thing. I would love to bring that back. That's a really good answer. Overall, just not a huge fan of the UI, and I would tweak that. I actually love the way that the PS4 felt overall. I felt like it was just a little bit more sleek, but
yeah. Next question we have is from Abdul, and it is, what do you prefer, Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yōtei? For me, story's better in Tsushima, personally, but I love the gameplay in Yōtei. I think it's better.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite of that, but I love the games, both of them, so much that they were on my top 10, both of them. So, Ghost of Yōtei. Well, I think there's going to get to a point in the story where you're going to be like, oh, that's what he's talking about when you get to play that portion. But there was just a little bit more emotional beats that I could relate to versus Tsushima. I love that. So that is why I'm sticking with it.
Perfect. Well, last one is, and I think this one's from Joshua, it is, what is your biggest concern for Marvel Insomniac's Wolverine? I will let you kick this off, because I'm really curious to hear yours just as a fan of all the videos you make, man.
My biggest concern? Okay, I really don't have a lot of concerns, because I just I'm one of those in Insomniac games we trust kind of people. I think that the game's going to be phenomenal on development, just because not development, but it is a weird. I hope that doesn't ruin that for people. And I also hope that people don't compare the success of Wolverine to like the success of the Marvel Spider-Man games as well, because those games were like massively successful, and like people need to realize, like, don't compare the sales numbers to between these two franchises, because Spider-Man is like one of the most popular, if not the most popular, comic book character of all time. It's accessible to every age pretty much. I think honestly, the thing that I just worry about more than anything has nothing to do with the game and just the community after the game releases, because it can be pretty toxic, and I think I worry more so for like the developers and like community managers out there than I do actually the game. So I guess that's just like the only uneasiness that I have going into Marvel's Wolverine.
To be honest with you, that's mine. It's the fan base, it's the community. How do they receive? How do they take it? I just a little worried on that. If I'm actually like looking at the game, I think part of it is we still don't really know a lot. I mean, if you follow the leaks, I guess you would know more. I don't. I don't look at the leaks. I don't want to see the leaks. We still don't really know much about the game. Like, kind of like, I don't need to know story-wise, like, what's Wolverine doing, because I don't want spoilers, but like, and to be honest with you all, I'll probably only watch one big thing about it, like, in terms of gameplay, and that'll be it. I almost didn't even watch the trailer that they put out months back. Because I just didn't want to see.
Yeah.
But I am just curious to see that. And I also hope they're not feeling like we have to include so much of the X-Men world in there. Let this be the introduction and then set us up to the X-Men eventually. I'm sure there's X-Men in there, don't get me wrong. Like, we've seen... there's tons of X-Men villains in that trailer. But, like... Let this be Wolverine's story. I know they're going to nail it. I just hope they're not like, let's go to the X-Mansion and show you off everyone, because then I'm just going to be like, look, now I just want to play Cyclops too, man. Like, don't put him in front of me if I can't play as him.
Yeah.
So, no, man, I think we both have great ones.
It needs to be a Logan story. Yeah. Yeah. Totally needs 1,000%. To be a Logan-centered story, and, I mean, I can't wait to play it, honestly, but hopefully we have a state of play announcement sometime soon.
They said it. They said
confirmed
spring, right?
Yeah, so
unless they push the game back again, which not going to be shook if a lot of games get pushed back during the fall because of GTA. Just telling everyone right now, do not be surprised if most of your games you're anticipating are pushed back because of GTA. And then it'd be funny if GTA got pushed back again.
Yep.
Anyways, that's it, guys. That's the first episode of Beyond the Play. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Keenan, where can they find you at if they want to go search out any of your other stuff?
Yeah, I'm on pretty much primarily Twitter is my main platform, but I'm on Instagram as well. I think Twitter or X is CB_Keenan, and then Comic Blast Keenan on Instagram, or just type in Comic Blast Keenan or CBK on YouTube, and you can find my solo channel. So that is it.
Love that. Well, you guys can find me over at Zach Pope on YouTube, where I talk about movies almost on a daily basis. We'll be back soon, promise you. If you're watching this over on the YouTube channel, that's on Hot Mic Gaming, where we do provide video game content over there. This is probably going to be one of the first big videos over there, so definitely make sure to like, subscribe, follow, but also please go subscribe and follow us on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you listen to podcasts. That is really where we're going to really push this podcast, if I'm being honest with you, because I think we can really grow it there exponentially. So you never want to miss a video, never want to miss an episode. We got a lot of PlayStation stuff coming up, and without further ado, I'll see you guys on the next one.